Dude.
Hello, welcome to the newsroom of HD. Here we have a breakdown of what the video that you just saw this evening. Damn shame. As you all know, Embryo is the new Jags head coach after the departure between the Jags and coach. RIP. Here you're seeing a video of what was called a disconnect. Call it as you will. Very suspicious in my opinion. But none of us will ever know what happened besides Jags coach. Now, I know many of you have thought that Detective Q was on the case and he solved this. We went a little deeper. We went ahead, we caught up with Coach Embryo, and we just had a few questions for him. We asked, Coach, you're the new face of PML. What are your thoughts so far? My thoughts on the Premier Madden League so far is that it's a very involved league. Everyone in the league is doing their best to win every year, and there's never a dull moment in the chat. The league is set up to be a very competitive league, and every game's a dogfight. Speaking of gameplay, I heard you faced off against the Colts last night. What are your thoughts of the game? How was your first game? Embryo says, it was an awesome game actually, very close battle, and then a few mistakes by myself ultimately became the deciding factor to me losing. Then of course, in my first game in the league, my terrible college internet and power decided to go out on me, so the game never saved. Very unfortunate, but I was able to prove that I wasn't lying, and let's hope that next week goes a lot better. I mentioned, you beat me to mentioning what happened to the end last night. I asked him, can you tell me, what happened? I want to hear your side. The people want to know what happened on the Jaguars side of the disconnect. Embryo says, from my point of view, he had scored a touchdown. It was a pick six, as you guys saw. And then right after, all of a sudden, my lights, computer, and PlayStation all lost power. Somehow, he tried to explain this. He went to the group chat because he knew that we'd all be riled up and had to know exactly what was going on from him. Obviously, it doesn't look good, pick six and then the game disconnects. Cord's getting a little loose. So, he figured it was just a shitty way to enter the league. He's not wrong. I asked him, what do you think of the guys that don't believe your story? He thinks it's fair to them, and if it was one of them, he would think it was skeptical as well. Obviously, I know I didn't just quit, so it's a tough situation all around. I agree. So, we caught up with the Colts head coach, Papa Greeny. Dove into his side a little bit here. Asked him, care to answer some questions? Says he's an open book. He's got nothing to hide. You'll see why in a minute. I asked him, I said, what are your thoughts on the game? Care to share your side? Papa Greeny says, I think it was very odd timing to cut out after a pick six while he was up 3 scores. We can't say for sure if he pulled the plug until he plays a few games, but he's going to have a tough time in the division for sure. So he's kind of implying, he doesn't think Embryo's going to make it around here. He says, why don't you tell us what happened from your side? At the beginning of the game, my kid woke up and I needed a 2-minute pause, which was agreed upon. And then the Jaguars head coach unpaused the game. It gives you 30 seconds after one unpauses. And accepted 2, not 1, but 2 delay of game penalties. He then had to play the next 15 minutes with a kid crying on his lap, playing father. And then once his significant other took over, he was able to crunch, it was crunch time, he was able to lock in and that's how he got up 3 scores and was able to pull away. I can see why it's frustrating. You agree to a little pause real quick, take care of your kids. Family's always important. You know, it's just, is it scummy that he unpaused and took the penalties? Wouldn't you at least decline them if it happened back-to-back times? It says, can you walk us through that final drive? As you know, what happened to the pick six? I said, what do you believe led up to the disconnect? He says, him losing by 3 scores. I said, do you believe he pulled the plug and the whole thing's just a myth? Papa says, no, got to give someone the benefit of the doubt, but if he has another game cut out when down big, probably him. I say, some say, you know, there's another story. This is where the beginning comes back to. Beginning comes back around of, you know, answering some questions and just seeing what's going on. I asked Papa Greeny, I say, some people believe that he pulled the plug because Jonathan Taylor also got injured in the game. He would have been out multiple weeks, and nobody wants to see their superstar running back go down like that. So he says that he ran for 260 with his backups, and he was fine either way. He had 3 to 5 sacks and multiple tackle for losses with his front seven, so he wasn't concerned. That's my side. Are those stats worth losing Jonathan Taylor to you, though? Says he can survive a few weeks without Jonathan Taylor. Potentially losing 2 to 3 superstars on his front seven for a whole year would hurt way more. He says he's 2-0 with that win. So he thinks if JT were to go out for 6 weeks and he went 2-4, he would still be 4-4, and he wouldn't be in the worst place where he could be. So he denies any involvement in the incident of what happened last night. You know, we're just making this video to make everyone aware of what really happened. Let's watch the footage one last.
Dude.
Such scum. Power cuts off. I hope to hear more about this from each side, and we figure out what is going on. What happened last night between the Jags and the Colts?